I lost my job at the end of the year and came back to the village. There, I found my sister hanging around with the blonde punk girl. Damn it. I was already fed up, so I smacked them both. My sister is a Beijing socialite princess. How dare you hit me? A Beijing socialite princess? This little prince of Mankin didn't answer. I just kept hitting her. A month later, the blonde girl's sister came to take her home for the new year. I stared at the big shot businesswoman at the door, completely stunned. The blonde girl massaging my legs was stunned too. Sis, why didn't you pick up the package I asked you to get for my brother? Get over here and count out with me to apologize. When I saw my sister, then a blonde punk girl, squatting at the village entrance, eating spicy snack sticks. I had just endured a high-speed train, then a bus, then a coach, then a motorized tricycle. I arrived home dusty and bedraggled. Honestly, losing my job at year's end was bad enough. I walked over and flicked each of them on the forehead. My sister spun around in a rage. What? I paid for those snack sticks. Once she saw it was me, she immediately went quiet. The blonde girl beside her jumped to her feet. She pulled my sister behind her, lifting her chin high. She eyed me sit along with what she thought was a fierce glare. Who are you? How dare you touch my godmother? I said nothing. I slapped her too. The hit left her dazed. Clutching her face, she spun halfway around. You dared to hit me. The blonde girl pointed at me, her hand trembling. It was as though she'd never suffered such an insult. Seeing that, my sister darted to my side. She plastered on a fawning smile and obsequiously blew on my hand. Brother, does your hand hurt? She's just an idiot. Don't hold it against her. If you want to hit someone, hit me. You haven't beaten me up in a whole year. I actually kind of miss it. The blonde girl looked utterly shocked. Qingqing briskly took all my luggage. She even remembered to massage my legs. He's my brother. The blonde girl grabbed her, looking exasperated by her lack of backbone. So what? He has hands and feet. Why can't he carry his own things? The moment my sister heard that, she sucked in a sharp breath. She frantically signaled at her face screaming, "You're dead." The blonde girl looked at me nervously, but forced herself to stand tall. Fine, you hit her. But my sister is a Beijing socialite princess. Don't tell me you dare hit me too. I looked at her coldly. Your sister is a Beijing socialite princess. Then I'm Mankin's little prince. The words had barely left my mouth when I struck. As a professional big brother, I had 16 years of experience beating up little sisters. At first, the blonde girl kept shouting her sister's title. But soon, all she could do was howl and flee with her head covered. Stop hitting me. Ow. I was really wrong. She held her head, with tears streaming down her face. I'll carry your bags for you, sir. Qingqing did not like that. She fiercely guarded my bags, refusing to let her touch them. Get lost. I'm my brother's personal attendant. What would an outsider know about taking care of him? Let's go home. I dusted off my hands and turned toward home. My sister, Qingqing, eagerly grabbed all the luggage. This time, the blonde girl did not dare make a sound. She followed meekly behind us, like a quail soaked by a storm. After walking for a while, Qingqing sidled up to me and lowered her voice. Brother, actually, that blonde girl, she's kind of pitiful too. She scratched her head. Her name is Miaomiao. She only joined our class a few days ago. I heard her home is really far away. Her family thinks she's rebellious and does not study properly. They say she's always asking for money, so they just give her living expenses and make her board at school. They do not care about her anymore. And that girl can really eat. She can put away 5 bowls of rice and a bowl of noodles. How could the school cafeteria possibly feed her enough? She's so hungry every day. Her eyes turn green. The moment she sees food, she's like a wolf spotting meat. She sighed as she spoke, clearly feeling sorry for her. The first time I met her, she stared at the half flatbread wrap in my hand, her eyes gleaming. Today, I treated her to a packet of spicy snack sticks. She got so excited that she called me her godmother. Listening to my sister, then seeing the blonde girl behind us, head hanging low, her steps weak and unsteady, I frowned. I suddenly understood why she called her sister a young princess of Beijing's elite. In this unfamiliar place, it was probably the best way she could think of to protect herself. When we reached my courtyard gate, I stopped. I looked back at the blonde girl trailing cautiously behind us. She immediately stood straight in fright. She was so scared, she nearly marched with her left arm and left leg together. You coming too? My face remained blank. Wash your hands. Get ready to eat. She froze. She stared at me blankly, her eyes suddenly reddening. My sister nudged her. What are you standing around for? My brother gave the order. Hurry up and thank him. Miaomiao jolted. She hurriedly bowed. The rich aroma of stewed meat drifted from the kitchen. I was efficiently finishing the last dish. From the living room came Qingqing's hushed voice, though she could not hide her proud boasting. I'm telling you, my brother's cooking is unbelievable. Back then, my classmates wanted just one taste of the meals he brought me, so they lined up to wait on me hand and foot. Miaomiao scoffed skeptically. That is because you have not seen the world. What's so special about home cooking? I grew up dining at Michelin-starred restaurants with my sister. We flew abroad specifically to eat it. You had to book 6 months ahead, and the chef would adjust the menu based on that day's ingredients. I came out carrying 2 huge platters. One held sweet and sour ribs, glossy and evenly coated in reddish-brown sauce. A sweet tart, caramelized fragrance rushed toward us. The other held braised pork belly. Cubes of pork belly trembled in a little mountain. They were rich with dark, glossy sauce. The aroma was bold and direct, forcing its way right into our noses. Every word Miaomiao had been about to say caught in her throat. She stared fixedly at the 2 platters. Her throat bobbed involuntarily. She swallowed. The moment dinner began, I felt like I was eating with 2 ravenous little wolves. Miaomiao took one bite and actually started crying. She looked at the sky and sighed. All these years, my sister has been taking me out for terrible food. To hell with Michelin stars. Everything I ate before tasted like wax. I thought something was wrong with me. Turns out her taste is just terrible. Brother, I'll follow you for the rest of my life. You are the true gourmet. In less than 5 minutes, her bowl of rice was empty, and most of both dishes was gone. She looked at me pitifully. Can I have another bowl of rice? Qingqing waved generously. Go ahead. The rice cooker is in the kitchen. Miaomiao did not move. Qingqing served her a bowl herself. She still did not eat. She only looked longingly down at the rice, then looked up at me. Qingqing was puzzled. Eat. It'll get cold. She still did not pick up her chopsticks. She only glanced disdainfully at Qingqing. Not bad. Not bad. At least you know who is in charge. I nodded approvingly. Go ahead and eat, I said. Once again, the sound of food being devoured filled my ears. After spending some time with Miaomiao, I noticed that the way she spoke was just like my former boss Ruyan's. It was a little baffling, to say the least. While watering my family's vegetable garden, she asked in confusion, for the daily maintenance of your private farm, don't you have a team of gardeners working in shifts? She pointed at my eldest maternal uncle, who had driven my father home on his motorcycle, and secretly reported to me, Brother, your family's driver smokes during work hours. Later, I learned to speak that way too. During the New Year's holiday, I said I would take them to the market. Miaomiao's eyes widened. What is a market? I rolled my eyes. It means visiting and participating in a localized, densely packed, real-time primary goods market, selling fresh produce and handmade goods, with bargaining and cash payments on the spot. There are also traditional snack stalls and traveling amusements nearby. After hearing me out, she became incredibly excited. That sounds so interesting. I've never attended such a sophisticated and lively event. My sister used to take me to events too. They were either auction previews, where we had to wear white gloves and could not speak loudly, or private events held by luxury brands. Everyone walked around holding a glass of champagne, using words I could not understand. Once we climbed onto the 3-wheeled vehicle. She was fascinated. She touched one thing and inspected another. Wow, I've never ridden in this kind of convertible. She asked humbly, what is this vehicle called? I'll have my sister pick one up from a dealership. She would look incredibly cool arriving at business meetings in it. My youngest paternal uncle, who was driving, glanced at us in the rearview mirror. The corner of his mouth twitched. He said nothing. That did not stump me. Facing into the wind, I smoothed my wind-blown hair and calmly told her, an all-terrain, 3-wheel drive off-road convertible. Ift. My uncle spat out a mouthful of iced tea. I deeply regretted bringing Miaomiao to the market, because we had been there for an hour, and she still had not made it past the snack street at the entrance. She stood before a stall frying sizzling starch sausages. Her eyes locked onto them. What is this? How can it smell this good? She suddenly turned to me, with a solemn expression. Did they add something addictive to this? I feel like if I don't eat one within 3 minutes, I'll die from the agony. It's a starch sausage. I patiently explained. A starch sausage. I've only eaten sausages made with Wagyu beef and truffles. You can make sausages from starch. Qingqing had been waiting impatiently beside us. She tugged desperately at my sleeve. Brother, buy one. I'm dying to try it. I walked up to the stall. Boss, 3 starch sausages, with extra chili and cumin. Coming right up. The vendor swiftly picked out 3 freshly fried sausages. I handed them to the eagerly waiting Qingqing and Miaomiao. Miaomiao accepted hers carefully and took a bite, copying my sister. Her eyes lit up instantly. Bite after bite, she stuffed her cheeks full. It was so hot she kept sucking in air, but refused to spit it out. As she ate, she mumbled, "This is so good. This is the best sausage I've ever had. I'll bring my sister here next time. She definitely has never eaten anything this delicious." Qingqing poked her when she heard that. Didn't you say your sister was a Beijing socialite heiress? Your family is so rich. Shouldn't you have endless starch sausages whenever you go to a market? Unlike my brother, who only lets me spend 20 yuan each time we come to the market. Miaomiao lowered her lashes and stared at the bare bamboo skewer in her hand. A hint of loneliness crept into her voice. My sister. She has never taken me to a market. My parents died in a car accident when I was very young. That left only my sister and me. She is very busy. She has to manage the family's huge business while looking after me too. And I'm such a disappointment. I always let her down. Her tone was calm, but as Qingqing listened, her face practically screamed, I am such a jerk. My heart softened despite my best efforts. She was only 16. She had lost her parents so young, then been dumped by her sister in this unfamiliar place, without a single complaint. Yet a simple starch sausage could make her bubble with happiness. I sighed and reached over to ruffle her hair. All right. I tried to make my voice sound less sympathetic. Lucky for you today. You caught me in a good mood. I pointed at the bustling snack street before us. See this. This whole street. Eat whatever you want today. It's on me. Miaomiao snapped her head up. Her eyes went perfectly round. Qingqing exploded first. Brother, what about me? I want to eat whatever I want to. I shot her a glance. Same rules as always. 20 yuan maximum. What? Qingqing let out a blood-curdling wail. Mental health rep. I'm suffering. My family favors boys over girls. No, wait. I'm the treasured center of attention. Miaomiao excitedly tugged me along as she plunged into the crowd on the snack street. Then she went straight for the cheap options. 5 yuan servings of crinkle-cut potatoes, to dash yuan cups of mixed Korean fire noodles, and 1 yuan pieces of sushi. When we passed a stall selling candied hawthorn skewers topped with milk skin, she stared at the 18 yuan price for a long while. I was about to buy her one, but she pulled me away. That thing looked sickeningly sweet. It definitely won't taste good. I saw right through her, but did not expose her little ploy. When she was slurping snail noodles, I silently handed her a candied hawthorn skewer topped with milk skin. Here, have something sweet after all that spice. Sweet and spicy make the perfect pair. Sweet and spicy together make the work feel easy. She stared at the candied fruit skewer for a long time. Then she carefully took it. She grinned from ear to ear, like a happy little fool. In the end, we sat on little stools in a corner of the market, each holding a cup of sweet milk tea made from powder. The cheap artificial scent mingled with the market's earthy bustle. Miaomiao slurped her milk tea and suddenly looked up at me. Her eyes sparkled. Today is the happiest day of my life. No one has ever taken me out for so much good food, and no one has ever indulged me like this. She lowered her head, picking at the rim of her cup. My sister always scolds me for bad grades and disobedience. She says I cannot do anything right. She paused, then abruptly looked up. Her eyes were full of earnest hope. Brother, can I be your little sister too? I do not eat much. Just give me 5, 6, 7, or 8 bowls of rice. I am strong. I can carry water and water your vegetable patch. I can haul grain for you. I can even massage your legs. Qingqing was having none of it. She sprang to her feet with a howl. No way. Who do you think you are? My brother has only one real little sister, me. Miaomiao immediately glared back. I am taller than you. I am stronger than you. I can do more work than you. Qingqing stuck out her chin. I have seniority. I've waited on my brother for 10 years. You have only been here a few days. The two were about to start arguing. I took a sip of milk tea. Shut up. You're ruining my appreciation of this fine vintage. They both fell silent at once. I raised a hand and ruffled Liu Miaomiao's yellow hair again. From now on, you are my second sidekick. Liu Miaomiao froze. The light in her eyes slowly brightened. And finally, she nodded firmly. Her voice rang out. Yes, brother. Looks like competition is a good thing. After that day, the two of them became fiercely competitive. They got up before dawn to fight over the chores. They even bullied the chickens into getting up and laying eggs before dawn. The chickens were like, "Are you two insane? Compete with each other. Why drag me into it? If I so much as coughed." They would fight over who got to pour me water. It scared my dad half to death. Those two, do you have some dirt on them? Luckily, after the New Year's holiday, both little Sidekics went back to school. Otherwise, they might have waited on me so much I couldn't do anything for myself. One day, I was reading in the courtyard when a teacher from the school suddenly called. The homeroom teacher sounded urgent. Are you Liu Miaomiao's brother? Get to the school quickly. Liu Miaomiao got into a fight. The other students' parents are making a scene at the administration office. My head began to buzz. Well, that little blonde troublemaker. No wonder her sister said she was disobedient. She had only been here a few days, and she was already causing trouble again. I grabbed a broom and rushed frantically to the school. I would tan her hide when I got there. I burst through the administration office door, but the sight before me stopped me cold. Liu Miaomiao was huddled in a corner, her clothes pulled crooked and rumpled. When she saw me enter, her body trembled, and she lowered her head even further. Across from her stood three bruised and battered girls, complaining tearfully to their parents. The parents stood nearby with their hands on their hips, spittle flying as they ranted. That little blonde is obviously trouble. She has only been here a few days, and she is already bullying classmates. She must be severely punished. Put a major demerit on her record. I walked over, broom in hand, my voice tightly controlled. Liu Miaomiao. What happened? Liu Miaomiao jerked her head up. Her eyes reddened. Brother, they tried to take my clothes off. I said no over and over. I only fought back because I had no choice. This was not how the story was supposed to go. As she spoke, her voice gradually choked with tears. Brother, do you think I am always causing trouble too? Do you not want me anymore? My heart lurched. More than half my anger vanished at once. Those parents immediately erupted. They pointed at me and shouted. See, she admitted she hit them herself. She is obviously some blonde street punk. Our children are so well behaved. How could they possibly do something like that? I gave a cold laugh and planted the broom on the floor. Anyone can make accusations. Are the school cameras just for decoration? Pull up the footage. Let us see who struck first and who started acting like a bully. The homeroom teacher already had a headache from all the shouting. She nodded quickly. Yes. Check the cameras. The security footage appeared on the screen. Everyone fell silent. The footage showed the three girls cornering Liu Miaomiao in the stairwell. One reached out and grabbed her collar. Another tried to take off her shoes. They cursed as they did it. Do you deserve to wear such expensive shoes? Take them off and let me wear them. Liu Miaomiao clutched her clothes tightly, backing away. She kept shouting, Do not touch me. You cannot take my things. Then one of the girls kicked her in the calf. Only then was Liu Miaomiao pushed afar. She shoved her away. She was very strong. That girl landed hard on her backside. The other two charged at her, but she knocked them both to the ground in seconds. They looked a mess, but she had not hit them hard. The truth was out. The parents' faces turned pale, then flushed. They could not say another word. I walked over to Liu Miaomiao and pulled her behind me. Then I said to the parents, Did you see that clearly? My kid acted in self-defense. She did not hit them hard, because she is kind-hearted. If it had been me, I weighed the broom in my hand. I would not have been nearly so nice. Now, either make your children bow and apologize, or we will go to the police station and discuss their attempted robbery. The parents exchanged looks. In the end, they could only drag their children over to say sorry. Their voices were reluctant, without a shred of sincerity. That's it. I raised an eyebrow. I jabbed the broom against the floor again. It landed a dull thud. Is that how you apologize? Who is the victim here? I stepped aside, revealing Liu Miaomiao behind me, her eyes red. Look her in the eyes. Louder. Say it properly. Held in place by their parents, the three girls reluctantly turned to Liu Miaomiao. We are sorry. What, did you skip lunch? Speak up. Has no one taught you any manners? Bow properly. I barked. We are sorry. The three girls were forced to raise their voices. They bowed stiffly. Miaomiao had clearly never faced anything like this before. At a loss, she shrank farther behind me. I reached back and took her icy hand, then patted it reassuringly. Then, facing those parents, I said, word by word, as for today, because they are still young and the school has dealt with it, this ends here. But let me make one thing clear. My girl is good-natured, but that does not mean she is a pushover. If there is a next time, I will not let it slide. With that, I took Miaomiao and walked out of the administrative office. Once we left the school gates, I led her into a small stir-fry restaurant on the corner. Miaomiao followed behind me, her fingers clenched white. She did not dare say a word, not until we sat at a table by the window, and I slid the menu toward her. Did she suddenly look up? Her eyes were red as a rabbit's. Brother, you brought me here. Are you saying goodbye to me? Her voice shook terribly. Her fingers gripped the edge of the table. Tears splashed down in steady drops. I know fighting caused you trouble. I will never do it again. Please do not abandon me, okay? I will eat fewer bowls of rice from now on. Her words left me both angry and amused. I lifted a hand and tapped her on the head. Why are you crying? Do not be such a crybaby. I stuffed the menu into her hands. Order whatever you want. I am treating you to a feast today. Consider it a reward. Miaomiao froze. A reward for me. For fighting. I leaned back in my chair and spoke hurriedly. Earlier, outside the office, I spoke to some of your classmates. They said your grades may not be great, but you are kind. Last time, a girl in your class was harassed by thugs. She was too scared to tell her parents or teachers. You stepped in on your own and helped her deal with it. I watched her face instantly turn scarlet. The corner of my mouth lifted. Miaomiao, you are a good kid. At those words, Miaomiao suddenly began sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. She choked out a question. Someone like me can still be a good kid. Of course you can. I reached over and ruffled her hair. Being a good kid has nothing to do with grades. Kindness is an incredibly precious quality. Still crying, she picked up her chopsticks between sniffles. She took a piece of braised pork and put it in her mouth. I asked softly, why does your sister always call you rebellious? Miaomiao bit down on her chopsticks. My parents, and my sister too, are all incredibly smart. My parents both graduated from one of China's top universities, Tsinghua or Peking University. My sister could do high school math in elementary school. She started college at 15. Now she runs most of the family business. Every deal she closes is bigger than the last. Everyone praises her as the best of her generation. But me, I cannot learn anything. She lowered her head, her fingers worrying at her chopsticks. With a math problem, the teacher explains it once, and everyone else understands. But I have to puzzle over it for ages. My sister refuses to believe our family could have a child as stupid as me. She says I just do not study hard enough. Every day, she sends someone to watch me do my homework. If I do not finish, I am not allowed to eat. But I really do study. Her voice was thick with grievance. I go to tutoring every day, but I still rank near the bottom every time. That only makes her angrier. She asks if I am trying to provoke her. She paused, then continued, and my family believes children should be raised frugally. They only give me 50 yuan a day for food. The cafeteria at our school is really expensive. I really cannot eat enough. I have no choice. I have to ask her for money to buy food every day. That only convinces her more that I am going through a rebellious phase. Eventually, Miaomiao's voice grew quieter and quieter. I decided to just act rebellious. I slept in class, did not turn in homework, and dyed my hair blonde. Sure enough, she stopped calling me stupid. Now she only calls me disobedient. She looked up, her eyes full of confusion. Brother, being disobedient, is that a little better than being stupid? Looking at her like that, it felt as if something clenched around my heart. My nose stung. I said nothing, only placed a few more ribs in her bowl. Eat, I said softly. There is plenty today. Eat as much as you want. Miaomiao stared at the bowl heaped with food. Her tears fell again. She cried as she shoveled rice into her mouth. Having a brother is wonderful. I suddenly remembered the designer clothes they had tried to take from her. I put on a stern face and scolded her. But I do need to criticize you about today. You are too vain. Why wear so many knockoff designer brands? She objected quietly. No, they are not fake. My sister said she bought them at some overseas buyer's boutique. They are very expensive. I firmly tapped her on the head again. I will buy you a new outfit later. Get rid of this one. That afternoon, I took her to the busiest clothing market in town. It was packed and buzzing with voices. Every stall was hung with clothes of every kind. Bright signs read, 29 yuan each, 50 for two. Miaomiao was like a curious child. Everything fascinated her. She touched this one, then looked at that one. Brother, this jacket is pretty. She held it up excitedly. It is only 200 yuan. I looked at the vendor. 80. The vendor said, young man, you cannot haggle like that. At 80, I would lose money. 85. The vendor relented. Fine, fine. It is yours. Miaomiao was stunned. So was I. Damn it. I offered too much. I let her keep picking. By the end, she was carrying a huge pile of clothes. Altogether, they cost less than 300 yuan. On the way home, Miaomiao carried several plastic bags. Her steps light. Brother, she suddenly said. Her eyes sparkled. My sister said she would come take me home before Lunar New Year. When she does, I will buy her to outfits too. She counted on her fingers. If I save up some more of my allowance, I should be able to buy to pieces. She wears those black suits every day. With that stern face, she is terrifying. Seeing how excited she was, my anger at her sister flared up again. When your sister gets here, I will give her a piece of my mind. What right does she have to keep scolding you? Our Miaomiao is clearly such a good girl. Miaomiao stopped short. She turned to look at me. The sunset glimmered in her eyes, dazzlingly bright. Her lips parted. She wanted to say something, but in the end, she only answered with a firm hum. Her voice was thick with tears. She turned away, then hurried ahead of me. She raised an arm and vigorously wiped her eyes with her new jacket sleeve. The day Miaomiao's sister came to pick her up, she could hardly contain her excitement. Brother, what do you like? I will have my sister buy it all for you. Her eyes lit up. That is perfect. Money is the one thing she has plenty of. I will have her transfer you 1 million yuan. She really said whatever came to mind. Maybe her sister was not entirely wrong to scold her so often. The warm sun shone over me. I reclined in a lounge chair in the yard. My eyelids grew heavier and heavier. Before long, I fell asleep. In my daze, I seemed to hear a car engine, coming closer and closer, until it stopped outside my gate. Through the haze, a maybach door opened, and out stepped my former boss, Ruyan, dressed in a sharp suit. She was immaculate. Even every strand of her hair screamed corporate tycoon. Frowning, I rolled over. I muttered to myself, what bad luck. Why am I dreaming about her too? She was the one who fired me, leaving me unemployed and back in this village. Just as I was about to run over and punch her twice in my dream, a loud cry rang out beside me. Sister. The call was crisp and clear. It yanked me straight out of my dream. My eyes flew open. The sunlight made me squint. The next second, I was completely dumbfounded. There really was a maybach parked outside my gate. Its paint was polished enough to reflect people, and the woman standing beside it. Who else could it be but Ruyan? Why was she here? Before I could recover from the shock, Miaomiao, who was massaging my legs, froze too. She called toward the gate. Sister, why did you not pick up the package I asked you to get for my brother? Come over here and join me. No, you, come here, now. Oh, God. How was Miaomiao's sister? Really an heiress from the capital's elite? That ditzy blonde delinquent had turned out to be a rich heiress experiencing rural life. Ruyan looked at her sister, dressed in cheap market clothes covered in loose threads, kneeling on the concrete to massage my legs in the dead of winter. Her face, usually cold as ice, was so shocked it nearly cracked. Miaomiao, what are you doing? Where are your clothes? Miaomiao did not let me off the hook either. I am serving my brother, he said. I am his most loyal sidekick. My brother threw out all my old clothes. Ruyan's expression turned awful. Sidekick? You are here playing sidekick? Miaomiao, I sent you here to reflect on yourself, not to become someone's sidekick, and you keep dropping to your knees. Get up now. Miaomiao was determined to drag me into this too. No, I will not. I have a brother now. I am not afraid of you anymore. My brother said. He is going to teach you a lesson. Brother, say something. My mind raced. Think. Damn it. What do I do now? The only way to save myself was to somehow get Miaomiao into Tsinghua in 1 minute. But I could not do that. So I chose to close my eyes and pretend none of this had happened. By my ear came Liu Ruyan's low growl of restrained fury, the rustle of fabric, Liu Miaomiao's reluctant grumbling and struggling, and the dull slam of a car door. Then, the engine started, tires rolled over the dirt, and the sound slowly faded. Silence returned to the yard. Only the sound of chickens pecking at grain and a wind through the bare jujube branches remained. I cautiously opened one eye. The gate was empty. Only faint tire tracks remained. The dazzling maybach, my ice-cold boss Liu Ruyan, and that loud blonde girl had all vanished. Like some absurd dream, my quiet life resumed. Until 2 weeks later, my mobile bank sent me a deposit text alert. The number on the screen froze me solid. 1 million yuan. 1 million. I rubbed my eyes and counted those zeros again and again before I recovered from the staggering amount of money. An unfamiliar number called. My heart pounded wildly. My trembling finger answered the call. A woman's voice came through the phone, gritting every word. It was Liu Ruyan. Qiang. You received the money, right? My voice trembled slightly. I received it. The next second, her furious roar came through the phone. Liu Miaomiao, did you hear that? Get down from that roof. I have already transferred the money. Then, she ordered me without room for argument. Book the next available flight to Qingqing. I will send someone to meet you at the airport. Then, in the background, I faintly heard howling wind and a cry I knew all too well. No, you buy the ticket. Get my brother first class, or I will jump. Damn, this little sister of mine was truly loyal. Every word Liu Ruyan spoke seemed pulled from an ice cellar. Mr. He, my assistant will book your ticket, but please leave immediately. You heard her too. My sister is making a scene because she wants to see you. 23 hours later, I stood, dizzy and disoriented, outside a mansion in Qingqing. The moment the door opened, warm air mixed with expensive fragrance washed over me. A figure came charging at me like a cannonball and threw her arms around me. Brother, you finally came. I missed you so much. Liu Miaomiao's voice trembled with tears. Her hair had been dyed black again and cut a little shorter. She wore high-quality loungewear, but that face, those eyes, she was still that same silly girl. Behind her, Liu Ruyan stood there, her face livid. Even her hair was no longer as flawlessly neat as usual. Clearly, she had just been through a battle. Liu Miaomiao. Let go, Liu Ruyan said, her voice tight with restrained fury. What do you think you look like? Not only did Liu Miaomiao refuse to let go, she held me even tighter. She looked up at me, her eyes sparkling. Brother, do not feel awkward here. I am still your sidekick. I can massage your legs and shoulders anytime. I will do anything you want. Liu Miaomiao. Liu Ruyan's voice suddenly rose. She strode over, trying to pull her off me. Is there seriously something wrong with your head? I raised you in luxury. I sent you to the best schools. I hired the most expensive tutors for you. Not so you could run off to the middle of nowhere and become someone's sidekick. Liu Miaomiao clung to me for dear life, looking deeply wronged. I want to. Brother bought me starch sausages, took me to the market fair, and even bought me cheap clothes. For the first time, I knew food could be hot, and people could be warm too. For the first time, I knew what a home felt like. Starch sausages, cheap clothes. Liu Ruyan looked as if she had heard the biggest joke in the world. The veins in her forehead throbbed with anger. Since you were 10, I have bought you property every year. She turned on me in a fury. What kind of spell did you cast on her? TSK. I only gave her a little normal affection. For a child who has never been loved, even the smallest kindness can fill her whole heart. Before I could answer, she dismissively waved a hand again. Forget it. It does not matter. Either way, starting today, you will be her study companion. Your monthly salary is 50,000 yuan. Your goal is to get her into a top university in China. 50,000 yuan a month? My eyes instantly lit up. I immediately thumped my chest and agreed. No problem. I guarantee I will get it done. I thought being her study companion just meant watching Liu Miaomiao study and do practice questions. I never expected the first hurdle to overcome was that Liu Miaomiao no longer wanted to eat. Liu Ruyan lived like a wind-up robot. Every meal was strictly planned by a nutritionist. Breakfast was oats, protein, and vegetable juice, all measured to the gram. Lunch was a meal designed by her private nutritionist. Low fat, low salt, and high protein. Liu Miaomiao had probably grown used to suffering through it in silence. She ate it by habit, as if completing a chore. But things were different now. I had spoiled her taste buds. She only picked at a few bites from her bowl. then set it down with a look of utter despair. Liu Ryan's expression instantly darkened. Liu Miaomiao, what kind of tantrum are you throwing now? Do you think this will provoke me? Lady, are you serious? You somehow made a child who loves to eat lose her appetite. Watching from the side, I was speechless. I could not help rolling my eyes. Have you ever even been a kid? What kid eats boiled vegetables every day? Kids need food that kids actually like. Liu Ryan froze. A flash of confusion passed through her eyes. As though the question had stumped her, she fell silent for a few seconds, before saying quietly, when I was little, this was how I ate. She was so infuriating that I laughed. That afternoon, I marched straight into the Liu family kitchen, rolled up my sleeves, and showed them what I could do. The moment I set a huge, fragrant platter of shredded pork and Beijing-style bean sauce on the table, Liu Miaomiao's eyes went wide. She practically swallowed her tongue. Her chopsticks never stopped moving, and she shoveled down rice at an astonishing speed. Even then, she remembered to serve some to her sister. Sis, you should eat some real, tasty food too. Liu Ryan did not touch her chopsticks. She only stared in astonishment as Liu Miaomiao devoured the food. When Liu Miaomiao polished off her sixth bowl of rice, finally stopping with a satisfied burp, Liu Ryan finally spoke slowly. You have always been able to eat this much. Liu Miaomiao nodded. So every day, when you used to ask me for money to buy food, you really were buying food? Liu Miaomiao nodded. Liu Ryan fell silent. At 3 in the morning that night, I went downstairs for water, and found the kitchen light on. When I opened the door, Liu Ryan stood at the kitchen island in her pajamas. Before her sat a small plate of Beijing-style shredded pork and a bowl of rice. Too oily, too salty, and too sugary. Can you really eat this stuff? She muttered softly. After hesitating for quite a while, she finally picked up her chopsticks and took a small bite. She chewed twice, then paused. Then, she picked up another mouthful. 1, then 2. She ate faster and faster. In the end, she cleaned off the shredded pork and the entire bowl of rice. Looks like it was not that bad after all. The next day, Liu Miaomiao excitedly told me her daily food allowance had gone up to 300 yuan. Wonderful. Now that I am full, I have the energy to study. I sat her down at the desk. First, I quizzed her on classical poetry. What is the next line after? A desolate land of Ba mountains and Shu waters. Liu Miaomiao was unbelievably sleepy. Her head kept nodding. This is bad. 6 bowls of rice. Too many carbs make you sleepy. Forget it. Let us do a math problem to wake your brain up. A product costs 3 yuan per item. Buying two at once gets you a discounted price of 5 yuan. Let f of x be the total cost of buying x items. When every 2 items cost 5 yuan at the discounted price, find f of 10 when x equals 10. Liu Miaomiao's eyelids were practically stuck together. She squinted and pondered for ages. First, x is a starch sausage. Second, 10 sausages are way too many. Bro, 5 will be enough for me. I was utterly stunned. How could x be sausage? She defended herself with complete confidence. That is what the problem says. 3 yuan each. 5 yuan for 2. Is that not sausage? My sister definitely could not solve this problem. After a long silence, I sighed. That is enough. Stop studying. Go to bed. If you study any longer, you will get indigestion. After tutoring Liu Miaomiao for 10 days, I asked the smart assistant if taking the college entrance exam for someone else meant prison. After it confirmed that it did, I asked if it could take the exam for Liu Miaomiao. Smart assistant, which one of us is the machine here? I took a deep breath and smoothed down the hair Liu Miaomiao had made stand on end. Then I stormed straight into Liu Ryan's office. Seeing me charge in, she frowned. Mr. He, what is it? I planted both hands on her desk and stared intently at her. Ms. Liu, have you always been desperate to know why your pampered younger sister, raised in luxury, is so devoted to a country boy like me? Her face remained completely calm. No. I turned and headed for the door. Then forget it. However, she coughed twice. If you are especially eager to tell me, I suppose I can listen. I turned around and walked back to her desk. 100,000 yuan. For this secret, she did not hesitate for a second. Deal. I had miscalculated. I should have asked for more. I leaned closer and lowered my voice. Because Liu Miaomiao might like girls. I paused deliberately, satisfied to see her interlaced fingers suddenly tighten. Her knuckles turned white. And the girl she likes is my younger sister, Qingqing. So she has to win me over by every possible means. She is afraid I will refuse. Liu Ruyan's pupils suddenly contracted. Her voice tightened. Impossible. What proof do you have? Proof. I spread my hands. My tone was certain. Why not go home and ask Liu Miaomiao yourself today? Ask her whether she is hiding anything important from you. That evening, Liu Ruyan came home unusually early, a full 3 hours earlier than usual. When she walked in, Liu Miaomiao was agonizing over a math paper, on which she had scored 30 points. When she saw her sister home so early, she nearly jumped out of her skin. She frantically tried to hide the test paper, and was so panicked she nearly crumpled it up and stuffed it into her mouth. A massive weight pressed on Liu Ruyan's heart. She paid no attention to her sister's attempt to hide something. She studied with a complicated look. The younger sister she had raised since childhood. Her voice carried a deliberately restrained calm. Liu Miaomiao, is there something? You need to tell me. Liu Miaomiao's entire body went rigid. The color drained from her face. She lowered her head in despair. Sis, you know already. Do you not? Did my brother tell you at the office today? Those words were the final straw, crushing Liu Ruyan's already wavering composure. She closed her eyes, her voice trembling uncontrollably. When did it start? Liu Miaomiao was even more confused. Although she did not understand why her sister was asking, she answered honestly. Her tone carried a hint of resignation. Always. I have always been this way. It is just that after going to the countryside this time, it became even more obvious. She could never learn. She had always been stupid. This time, after spending a while in the countryside, she escaped the intense pressure and control, and truly showed her true colors. Her grades became even worse. That was what she meant. But to Liu Ruyan's ears, it confirmed that terrifying truth. Liu Ruyan could barely remain standing. She grabbed the back of the nearby sofa. Her voice was painfully hoarse. Before this, why did you not tell me? Liu Miaomiao mumbled guiltily. I was afraid you would not be able to accept it. That your own sister was like this. She feared her sister could not accept that she really was trying, but genuinely a fool who could only score 30 points in math. But Liu Ruyan completely misunderstood. Her vision went black. It felt as though an invisible hand had clenched around her heart. The tremendous shock brought heat to her eyes, and she nearly burst into tears. She waved a hand and said nothing more. She staggered back to the study. Over the following week, the Liu household was shrouded in an oppressive, eerie atmosphere. Whenever Liu Ruyan looked at Liu Miaomiao, her eyes were full of struggle and pain, and helpless confusion as she tried to understand. She stopped pressuring her about studying, and instead became unusually quiet. Sometimes she seemed about to speak, then stopped. She sighed constantly. A week later, Liu Ruyan finally seemed to convince herself to accept reality. She summoned me to the study. Mr. He, I am planning to arrange for Liu Miaomiao to immigrate to a more relaxed environment, somewhere more accepting of her situation. The paperwork is already being processed. Looking at her tragic expression, I could not hold it in any longer. Ms. Liu Miaomiao is not actually like girls, and she is not dating my sister. The reason she was so evasive last time was that she scored 30 points in math. She is simply a pure-hearted, kind girl who is not very good at math. She was always afraid to tell you, because she thought you could not accept it. Liu Ruyan froze. The expression on her face froze. She looked as though she had not understood. I gave a smug little chuckle. What I said last time was all made up. So, now that you know she is just not good at school, is it easier to accept? She suddenly rushed out of the study and found Liu Miaomiao frowning over English vocabulary. She pulled her sister tightly into her arms. She held her so tightly, as if she had recovered a lost treasure. This is wonderful, she choked out, her words tumbling over each other. I know everything now. So you just need help with your studies. That is wonderful. So, you got 30 points in math. It is all right. It is all right. This is wonderful. Her sister was crying and laughing, and rambling so wildly that Liu Miaomiao was utterly terrified. She shot me a frightened, pleading look, silently mouthing, Brother, what is wrong with my sister? Did I drive her crazy? Smiling, I told her, Liu Miaomiao, congratulations. From now on, you can do what you want. You do not have to pretend to be rebellious anymore. 2 years later, one early autumn evening in Qingbai, the breeze still carried summer heat and a faint chill. Liu Miaomiao, and he Qingqing were crouched on steps beside a bustling food street. Each of us held a crisp, fragrant fried, starch sausage coated in chili sauce and cumin. We clinked our skewers together. He Qingqing's cheeks were stuffed full, as she shouted through a mouthful, to celebrate Sister Mao getting in as an athletic recruit at Beijing Sport University, and me getting into Beijing University of Post and Telecommunications. Liu Miaomiao bumped He Qingqing's shoulder hard, nearly knocking the sausage from her hand. I took a bite of my sausage and watched the two of them play around. Just then, my phone chimed with a bright transfer notification. I took it out and looked. The screen clearly displayed, bank transfer received, 1 million yuan. Well, another million. I raised a brow and looked at Liu Miaomiao. Liu Miaomiao shook her head blankly, as if sensing something. I turned around. At some point, Liu Ruyan had appeared, a few steps behind us. Her face was expressionless, though the tips of her ears were faintly, unnaturally red. "It is for you," she said shortly. Her gaze passed over the sausages in our hands, and the corner of her mouth twitched almost imperceptibly. "A bonus." Liu Miaomiao's eyes instantly lit up. She asked excitedly, "Sis, weren't you holding a mergers and acquisitions meeting at China World Trade Center today? Why are you here?" Liu Ruyan did not change expression. "I was passing by." I looked at her casual clothes and nearly laughed out loud. From the China World Trade Center Central Business District all the way to this food street in an urban village beyond the 5th Ring Road, this sister was still so good at putting on an act. Clearly, Liu Miaomiao did not think that deeply. Her head drooped in disappointment. "Oh, just passing by. I was hoping we could explore the night market together. I guess that will not work. Then go take care of your business, sis." A pretentious older sister had met her blunt little sister. Liu Ruyan cast me a pleading glance. "Serves you right for pretending." I cleared my throat, then strolled leisurely over to Liu Ruyan. With a smile, I whispered, 100,000 yuan. A vein at Liu Ruyan's temple seemed to twitch. Then she forced one word through gritted teeth. "Fine." Liu Miaomiao looked at us curiously. "What are you two whispering about?" I gave her a shove toward Liu Ruyan. "Your sister says she has recently been considering investments related to the nighttime economy. Today, you can give her a proper tour for some on-site research." Liu Miaomiao suddenly lifted her head. The light returned to her eyes at once. "That is wonderful, sis. I know this place like the back of my hand. I will be your guide." Liu Ruyan nodded a little stiffly. Then, as if to hide her awkwardness, she took the lead and walked ahead. But her pace was much slower than usual, clearly waiting for those behind her. Like a puppy finally given the go-ahead, Liu Miaomiao immediately followed after her in delight. Naturally, she walked half a step beside Liu Ruyan, chattering nonstop. "Sis, look at that rabbit light. I heard it uses hundreds of tiny bulbs. And over there, they are selling sugar paintings. They can make all 12 zodiac animals. It is amazing." He Qingqing and I silently fell a few steps behind, giving the sisters some space. Liu Miaomiao stopped at a lantern riddle stall. Pointing at one riddle, she cried, "I know this one. It is an abacus." The stall owner was a smiling old man. "You got it right, young lady. Here, your prize is a rabbit lantern." Liu Miaomiao happily accepted the cheap, glowing rabbit lantern. She proudly offered it to Liu Ruyan. "Sis, this is for you. You were born in the year of the rabbit." The rabbit lantern's light flickered across Liu Ruyan's impassive face. It glowed, then dimmed. She stared at the crudely made plastic toy for 2 seconds, then at her sister's cheeks, flushed slightly with excitement. Finally, she slowly reached out and took it. She did not say she liked it, nor did she say she did not. She simply held its thin handle, carefully weaving through the crowd, while protecting it in her hand. Then she continued onward, because the warmest things in this world are hidden in these most ordinary, gently flickering